Don't forget to like our Facebook page. Follow the page and select See First to stay informed. To join, click on the button Sign Up. Our web address is www.uphd.org. Make your voice heard. Click the red button Join Us today. Drivers can also subscribe to our newsletter by registering on our website. Click the red button Subscribe to our newsletter. United Private Hire Drivers, putting drivers first.
United will never be defeated. The drivers united will never be defeated. The drivers united will never be defeated.
United Private Hire Drivers, putting drivers first.
Hi, Yassine.
Hi, James. How you doing?
Good, good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
I can't see you anymore. This is the only way we get to meet anymore because you're housebound and I'm housebound and so is everybody else. So we might as well do this, I guess, eh?
Unfortunately, that's the only way. But anyway, thank you everyone for watching. So we have about 35 people watching us right now. So if you could just kindly please share the link. If you could share this on all the WhatsApp group or Facebook group you're in. And if you could just comment so we know who's watching us, any questions you got. So it's just quite late, 10:30, 11, nearly hitting 11. So yeah, so it's quite late, but thank you. It's good to see that people are still awake. But anyway, James, it's just a quick live to give you a little update of what's happening at UPHD and what we're doing.
Well, there's a lot going on. There's a a pandemic going on, if you hadn't heard about it, but there's a lot going on in the meantime, a lot going on inside UPHD that we should talk about. But also we should maybe take the opportunity to, through the chat, to listen to what people are saying to us on these live comments. What are people thinking about? What are people worrying about? What people think is going to happen next? But anyways, where should we start, Yassine?
Okay, I mean, could you hear me all right though, yeah?
Yeah, I heard you perfectly.
Okay, yeah, no, let's just talk about the latest action we filed. Most recently, the pre-action letter we sent to Department for Transport and Department for Health. If you could just quickly touch on that, on why we're doing it, what's happening with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, Yassine, you know better than I do, but on the legal front, I mean, it's been baptism of fire for what we've been involved in the last week. So we got this case going to the High Court regarding safety protection for drivers who are very exposed. And sadly, we've lost members like Ayu Bakhtar and others. So we need to do something about that. But it's not just that. We got the Supreme Court case coming up against Uber in July. And, you know, we're going to win that, but it's kind of out of our hands. We won this thing in 2016, but since 2016, it's been out of our hands because Uber has filed appeal after appeal after appeal. We've no choice but to go out there and defend them. And if we don't defend them, then we concede loss. And that's been the tough thing. Like, people may not have appreciated that, but we have no choice but to defend these things. I wish Yassine and I could have walked away from this thing in 2016, but we can't. They keep coming back to appeal, and we have to go back and answer those appeals. And the final appeal, hopefully, is at the Supreme Court in July. Tomorrow, we're going to be meeting with our lawyers virtually to talk about our next steps in final preparations for that. We've also tomorrow we've got a case in the offing. We've got a hearing. Again, it's virtual hearing in a case that we're supporting two members in Northampton against an operator called Bounds. They operate between Milton Keynes and Northampton, owned by United Travel Group. So we got 2 members in action tomorrow, and we've got our lawyers working on that tomorrow. They'll be in court. We're going to have a solicitor and the barrister there to support those 2 members tomorrow. And what else? We've also had no less than 5 appeals going at the moment for licenses supporting driver licensing with Transport for London alone. So it has been a busy week, but thankfully we're doing well, and we're fighting those cases hard, and we're going to prevail in all of them. But
I think
I think it's just really important to just explain to everybody the amount of casework that's going on, and we're doing well.
Yeah, I think it's good, especially with this pandemic and this crisis. I mean, it's good to be able to help out drivers, especially at this time. And just over the last 6 weeks, it's good that we managed to launch a massive case against a company in Northampton. We managed to we're in the process of starting this action against the Department for Transport. And in between, we helped so many drivers with issues with AXA. We helped drivers claim money back from Uber. We helped a fair few drivers with car rental issues. We helped drivers with vehicle finance. So, I mean, not everyone's going to be happy, but for what we are and for what we've done, I think it's good. I think it's a massive achievement for the last few weeks. And hopefully tomorrow will be a good day for us again, because as always, we're at the forefront and we're doing what's right for our members. So we're there to service our members. And I think the main people that have a right to complain is the driver community or our members. And I think our members, I haven't really had any complaints. So I think we're doing a great job at the moment. Yeah. But anyway,
we're
let's
all
just go
firing on all cylinders. Yeah, we want to jump into the High Court case. Yeah, see.
Which High Court? You want to explain it, please? Yeah, because we got Al from San Francisco watching us. Al is one of the guys from Rideshare Drivers United in San Francisco. Most recently, they filed a case there against Uber. It's like AB5 and a wage theft, and so they're doing a lot. So Al is a national organizer for the Yemeni brothers there. But his question is about what are our demands about drivers in London, and if you could I'll let you explain that briefly, because got a few guys watching from overseas.
Well, our long-standing demand for drivers in London is we want £2 a mile, up from £1.25 at the moment. We want £2 a mile. We want 15% commission, down from 25% currently, and we want the guaranteed London living wage, and we want the holiday pay and so on. Those are our sort of global demands that are long-standing, but specific to this pandemic, we have a problem in that drivers have been dying. We know the disease is highly contagious. It is, I'm not sure what the statistic is, but even compared to other flus and other diseases, this is a very infectious disease. That's the one point I think we're trying to get across to people, is that this is a highly contagious disease. So we kind of have to be extra careful with it. So we have filed a complaint. So it's a pre-action. It's a pre-action letter that we have sent off 10 days ago. We sent it off Good Friday, before the Easter weekend. And we gave Transport for London, Department for Transport, and the Department for Health until last Friday to respond. So what the Department for Health have written back and said their lawyers are going to represent both those departments, and they're going to write back to us. But they've said that they're not unable to meet that deadline because they only had 3 working days to do that. So we've given them a little extra time to deal with it. And Transport for London also came back late last Friday and they've said that they will come back to us, but they've left that open-ended. Now, we're hearing that what Transport for London are saying is that they want guidance from the Department for Transport on this issue. So we kind of got a little bit of finger pointing going on here. Nobody quite knows what to do about this, because the situation we have is that we have a highly infectious disease in the community. Vehicles are a potential mode of transmission of that disease, and we don't really know how to control it. So there are a lot of things we have to consider about that. But what we can't really say is that we can just bury our head in the sands and carry on the way we've always done when we know that people have died as a result of that. So something needs to change. But the question is, well, what needs to change and who's going to decide it? And, TfL hasn't, they haven't decided anything. And then for a while they were running around saying that, it was no good wearing masks. It might even make things worse. But now everybody's backtracking off that message, because it turns out Public Health England was putting that message out because they were afraid that if they said, yeah, everybody wear a mask, everybody would buy up all the medical grade supplies and they'd have no masks for the NHS. That was the only reason why they were putting that message out there. But the truth is that it is probably going to help prevent or slow down the spreading of that disease, but it's probably not going to be completely enough to stop the spread of the disease. So what are we asking for? So what we're asking for is regulation. Because there's no point in all of us running off and trying to manage this by ourselves, reading up what can we do, and Uber will have something and somebody else will have something else and so on. Like, we need to know what the science says. None of us are epidemiologists. I'm not. I don't know. I know Transport for London probably don't know, but that's their job. They need to go away and get the scientific advice they need, and they need to come back with a plan for us on what is the best way that we can operate safely so that we don't get many more drivers infected with this disease and we don't unwittingly pass that disease on to passengers. And nobody has a good answer to that question right now. So what could be in play? Well, the taxi trade have been kind of marketing themselves, saying if we got this plastic partition up, we got a separate cabin for taxi, to separate taxi drivers from their passengers. Unfortunately, it hasn't stopped taxi drivers from dying as well. There's been quite a few that I know of in London that have died. So we can't say that just because you've got this separate cabin and you've got this glass of perspex between you, that something micron size virus can't penetrate through that. We can't say that that's true. So we know that there's risk there. So we can't say that that's enough. Nobody's done the analysis to say that it's enough. We can wear masks. We can wear gloves. We can do those things. It'll probably help. But what we need, the point is that we kind of need to have a common standard based on the science, and that's really the job of government, to go away and do that work and come back and tell us what's possible and what should be done. So looking around the world a little bit, in Amsterdam, you're only allowed to have one passenger at a time in the vehicle now during the pandemic. You've got to have a separation of 1.5 meters, and if you can't achieve that in the car, then you need to have a physical barrier, so either a perspex glass or a curtain. You might have seen some of these plastic curtains that are now being marketed for vehicles like ours. And then if you've got a high-risk passenger, you've got to wear the mask and you've got to wear the gloves and aprons and so on. So there are various ideas out there about how we ought to be doing this. And now we saw Uber has come out. Uber's come out today or last night with new details. They're going to give you a £25 budget that you can go and buy some of these things for yourself, and you can get reimbursed by Uber. Well, look, this is really good. This is really good, and I've no doubt that Uber's only done that because of the threat of this High Court action. Because what Uber don't want is regulation on this, so they're trying to preempt this by providing this, this provision for drivers to get this stuff for themselves. So in one respect, it's a win, right? I mean, I did a fact packet calculation and figured that that initiative is probably costing Uber about 1.25, 1.5 million pounds just for that initial offer, £25 a driver. So that's 1.5 million that's in your pockets. Is one way to look at it. It's not very much for each driver, but it's something, and it's certainly a win for us in that regard. But it's not the win we're after. The win we're after is we want the scientific analysis done. So we have a proper risk assessment of what is the risk situation here, what's the mitigation plan, and then can we say that we can operate at a level of acceptable risk, or a level of risk that we can, as drivers, accept, and know that you're not out there facing a really uncertain situation. Now, I don't know if Hadi or Yassine want to come in and chat about it, because the thing that's interesting to me about this is that, when this lockdown ends, and when the separation or the isolation is lifted, we're not going to go back to what we were. We're going to have a new normal, because all we've done with this isolation is flatten that curve, but the virus hasn't gone away. And we're going to need to continue to try and do things to reduce the risk of infection. So probably more mask wearing, and there probably won't be big events like football matches and concerts and stuff for a while. We're going to see a lot of controls, but we're going to also have controls on minicabs and private hire vehicles and taxis, because we have to recognize that virus is still out there in the community. We're still at risk to it, and there are going to be some controls and restrictions in place. But we have to recognize that our new normal is going to be living with that risk of infection that's out there in the community, and we're all going to have to try and manage it. So I don't think there is a situation where we're going to go back to a pristine world where that virus doesn't exist and it's gone, it's eradicated, doesn't exist anymore. No, I think we're going to have to manage that. The question is for how long? It could be 2 months, it could be 6 months, it could be 2 years. But I think we have to accept that we're going to go back to a situation where we're constantly trying to manage that risk. Now, the question is, how do we manage that risk, and how do we manage that risk in a way that's fair, that's affordable, that doesn't, that protects our lives, but that is a fair sharing of the burden of the cost that ought to be. So those are some of the things. And so it's very important for us to be leading the charge on that. So that's part of the legal action, because the debate wasn't happening, just wasn't happening anywhere. It wasn't happening. TfL would openly tell us it wasn't. They're still openly saying we're waiting for DFT to tell us what to do, and DFT are not doing anything. And the decision that was made to allow private hire vehicles to continue working was not made by either DFT or TfL or any licensing authority. It was made by the Department of Health. And for those of you who are in Scotland, although we know health is a devolved topic, meaning that Scotland has its own Department for Transport, has its own Department for Health, and Wales has its own Department for Transport. I'm not sure what their health setup is. But when it comes to the pandemic, Matt Hancock and the Minister for Health in England has the national jurisdiction for managing the pandemic. So the restrictions about what's allowed to operate and what isn't allowed to operate, whether you're in Scotland or not, that decision is still being taken in London. So it's really important for us to be kind of driving this conversation, because somebody needs to get to the table and say, right, in the new normal world, how is it that we're going to operate? How do we manage this risk? What are the new controls that ought to be in place? What's reasonable for us to be able to continue to make a living? What's reasonable in terms of protecting our lives and those of our passengers? And who should decide and who should pay for it? Those are the things that have to be decided, those four things. What's reasonable to protect us? What's reasonable to protect our income? What's reasonable in terms of cost, and who should be paying for it? Those are the things that need to be decided. And we're trying to force that conversation. So, like, while we're looking at the immediate situation where we're seeing that, drivers have been dying, tragically, I mean, devastatingly so. We also have to look ahead and say there's going to be a new normal here, and the new normal is going to be that risk is present in the community all the time, and therefore there's a continued risk of transmission in our vehicles, and we have to come up with a plan for managing that, understanding that risk, assessing that risk, and managing it, and that really can't be left to operators. And to the industry to self-regulate because of the structure, where we're all workers and we're all self-employed and so on. It would be just impossible unless there's a regulatory standard on this that we all have to meet. But also economically, it's not possible for drivers to be paying for stuff like this at the moment because everybody's broke because they've been the industry has been driven into the ground for the last 3 years. More than that, since 2012, since Uber arrived. Nobody's been able to make any money. So where's the money going to come from for this? You can't squeeze.
James, is also going to be even worse from now onwards. I mean, at the moment, I don't think the drivers are making a lot of money. Myself, I'm scared to go out. And I'm thinking probably the only time I would go out is after the lockdown. And even after the lockdown, before I could go out, we need a clear guideline on how we're going to actually be protected out there. I mean, I have been ill myself, and I know how it feels. But, I mean, a lot of people are saying to me, now you have the license, you might not get it again. But I've spoken to a lot of expertise, I mean, doctors and so on, and they say to me, this is a quite new disease. Nobody knows anything about it. So we will advise you just stay put and don't go out there. If you go out there and start picking up passengers, you'll be in a very, very high risk. So we need clear guideline on how we could protect ourselves, protect our passengers. And who's gonna be taking care of of all these cost of cleaning products, and whether we have to put the barriers in the cars. There's gonna be less jobs at the moment, even after the lockdown, because I don't think they're gonna open bars, as you said. I mean, I don't think there will be a football match straight away. There wouldn't be big events where we can actually earn money out of it, and I think also the pattern of how people work is going to change, because I assume a lot of people would work from home, so there will be less people to be taken to work even after the lockdown. So it's going to be a really, really struggle. James, let me just take this opportunity and advise our members. I mean, I've been getting a lot of phone calls regarding AXA. I just want to say to the members, basically, what happens is, if you actually hand in the NHS 111 sick note, AXA will not pay you for that, because AXA normally will not pay for the first week. What you need to do is you need to go to your GP. You don't have to go direct to your GP. You could actually phone your GP, explain to them the illness that you went through it, or if you're ill, phone your GP and get the sick note from your GP on how long you've been ill, either 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks. So that's the only way AXA could pay you. Otherwise, they won't. And the other thing is, I've had numerous drivers who've been calling me saying to me that, AXA have refused to pay me because I haven't done 150 jobs. Yes, well, you need to do 150 jobs before actually you went sick, So you need to have completed 150 trips to qualify for the AXA claim. Otherwise, you won't qualify for it. I hope that message is clear to all the drivers. Make sure you get your sick note from your GP, please. Thank you, James.
No, that's really good. So Hadi, for those, if we haven't introduced them, Hadi is, for those who don't already know Hadi, I'm not sure there's many people who don't know Hadi, but Hadi's our London chair. And recovering, how's the recovery going, Hadi? How are you feeling?
No, I'm okay. I've been going out walking, no problem. I have my appetite. My smell has actually come back, so I feel a lot better at the moment. But I'm still scared to go out there. Actually, it's boring to sit at home. There's nothing. But you know what? Health is more important. Once I have health, I can make money. It's not a problem. Yeah. Your health, the health of your family, it's very important, guys.
Yeah, no, it's very true. So So some of the things that the industry may not be the same anymore, but some of the things that could help
Definitely will never be the same.
is maybe there should be a limitation on the number of people in the vehicles. One or two maybe, but really 4 people. Maybe that's not what we should be doing. Of course, it's going to spread the work around a little bit more as well if we have those types of limitations in the vehicle.
Not only because that we're going to spread the work, James, but we need basically to protect ourselves and to protect passengers. Yeah. It's not logic at the moment with this how the situation is to have 4 passengers, one sitting breathing at your neck and the other 3 sitting at the back breathing, breathing among themselves and spreading everything. I don't think it's feasible to work on those conditions. So we need clear guidelines. So me myself, probably if I get 4 passengers coming into my vehicle, I would actually refuse the job and say, no, I can't take you guys because it's too risky for me and it's too risky for the others. Because I've seen drivers have been putting a barrier between them. So what happens once you have the 4 passengers? And the other thing is, it's not clear also if you have the barrier, what does the TfL say about that barrier? Are we allowed to have that barrier? I mean, I'm talking about the transparent plastic that normally drivers put there. So this is why UPHD has been pushing for clear guideline. So if you have that barrier and TfL official stops you, then you are allowed to have it. But then if UPHD do not push for these things, we're going to be on our own and we're just going to be, destroyed and exploited, just like every day while we are out there. Nobody cares about us apart from UPHD.
So the thing is that there is some provision allowed for putting some kind of a barrier in the vehicle, but as I understand it, it's not completely crystal clear. There have been some guidelines published, but it's not really crystal clear. And to be honest with you,
I did search about it, James, but haven't seen anything saying that TfL allows it and you can have it. I mean, there are companies who do it professionally for quite expensive.
TfL does have a policy on this, but we're not clear that it's clear guidance for effective implementation. That's all I'm saying. But I mean, but the thing is, though, is that some people have been sort of saying to us, well, we should be advising people on where to get the screens and how to do it and so on. But I'm uncomfortable going down that road because I don't know that a perspex screen or a plastic curtain is going to be effective in controlling infection. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that it is. I don't know if that's going to be enough. And
but James, if you know about the mask, there wasn't a clear advice. Some of them would say to you, I mean, the mask is not going to protect you from anything, or even if you look at the World Health Organization, they were saying if the only people should wear a mask are the people who are ill. But then speaking to other people say to you, even if it could protect you by 20%, you should have it. So the plastic itself, even if it could give a protection of 50% to the driver, I think the drivers should have it. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure a mask is going to help control infection because it's covering, right? Let's face it, it's covering your mouth and your nose.
People with a beard like us. So how is it going to?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. But I mean, we know doctors and surgeons and dentists wear masks for a reason, right? I mean, we know that that's going to help. I don't know that a plastic sheet hanging up on the back of your car is going to be effective. And I wouldn't want to say it would be. And I wouldn't want to tell people to go and spend a lot of money because I've saw some of the perspex fittings are about £700. I've seen the plastic curtain for like 60, 70 quid, something like that. I wouldn't want to tell people, yeah, do that. And that'll save you because I just don't know. I do know that the taxi drivers are dying. I do know bus drivers are dying and they've got perspex shields.
Exactly. They've got big screen there. They're still dying, yeah.
So I just think it'd be very wrong for us to say, yeah, do that. It'll reduce risk. We just don't know that it would. And I wouldn't want to give people, I wouldn't want it on my conscience to say that, that we gave that kind of advice without knowing for sure that was going to be effective. but I'm pretty sure masks and gloves and stuff like that that's going to help, and the alcohol gels, if we can get your hands on them, because those things are going to, you're going to, and if the virus is on your hand, you're going to kill it. If you have it, it's going to be a little bit easier for you to not spread it or not breathe it in if you've got masks. Right?
But James, even with a mask, we need a clear guideline. The problem is I had a mask before this, but I wasn't sure whether, I could wear a mask and then a passenger cannot see my face clearly, and maybe they would report me to TfL, or maybe they would report me to Uber. So we still need clear guidelines in here where the driver actually can wear a mask without any problem. Though Uber have said now, from the last email I received from them, that we can wear a mask, fair enough.
So Coram is saying he's spoken to Uber, Ola and Bolt. They said only 3. But the point though is that so who says that then? Is that
maximum 3 people in the car?
Are they going to, are they, do you see what I mean? Like, so somebody books a vehicle on Uber and 4 people are there. What do you do? Have they told customers they can only book 3 people in the car? Are they, because if they're not telling the customer that, there's no point telling you can refuse them. They need to be telling a point of booking that, listen, only 3 people in the car, because otherwise you show up, maybe you spend 10 minutes driving to pick them up, you find it's 4 passengers, and now either you lose the fare or you have to take more passengers than you wanted to. No good telling us. They need to be telling the customer that it's 3 people maximum, a point of booking. But more importantly, the regulator needs to be telling them. TfL needs to be saying to Uber, the law now is 3 people maximum booking in the vehicle. That's how you get this thing done. Okay, so that's good. Let's see. Liam is asking what the take is on AXA. Well, Hadi just dealt with that, I think. But I mean, the key thing is,
AXA would actually pay you a maximum of 3 weeks, and the maximum they would pay you is 1,125. So they wouldn't pay you more than that. Even if you're 5 weeks ill, 6 weeks, they will only pay you for 3 weeks, and that's it.
Yeah. So the key of it is that there's 7 days exclusion. So your first 7 days sick, you're not going to get paid, and then I think there's 14 days or 15 days. I think they'll cover after that. So when you go to your doctor, get 3 weeks, get 21 days. That's what you're going to need, because you're not going to get paid for the first 7. So get 21 days, 3-4 weeks. Get them at least 3 weeks, if not 4. I think your doctor will be more than happy to oblige you, but you're going to need that certificate. Get it, send it into AXA, and then you'll be done with it. Okay, so let's see. What other questions do we have here?
And actually, I managed to get through with AXA today, because what happened is, James, previously I had a lot of drivers saying that they haven't had anything from AXA and so on. They said they have a heavy backlog of claims. So they are also short of staff. They're quite behind. They're still dealing with the claims that have been put through on March. So haven't dealt with anything for April. So drivers probably needs to be patient for now at the moment. Okay.
All right. Okay. And somebody said, I think Yassine's put a note in here. Where is Yassine? Yassine, you should come in here. So Yassine has put a note in. There's so there's a guide on the members area of the website, so you can have a look at that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sean says, we need to prepare for going back to work. All vehicles need screens. We all need to show the public that both public and private hire can work together and clean each time a customer leaves. Hence, having a better service and by not cleaning at the end of the day. So LCC has approved screens by car. Okay. Drivers across the UK are traveling to us in the world. We've made our own screens that are insurance approved by ERS. No damage to PH vehicles, so easy to remove after 21 days after the government. Yeah, I've seen those. I've seen those up in Merseyside. But still, still the remaining question though is that, and somebody made the point in here, screens could be good actually for protecting you from assaults. And also from accusations, right? But are they going to be effective in controlling infection? We don't know. And I think it's an important thing for the regulator should answer that question. But listen, by all means, if you feel that it's protecting you from infection, yeah, do it. But just know that it may not. We don't know. Nobody knows that that's going to protect you from infection. But the point is that what are we paying a license fee for? It's the regulator's job to understand how to manage safety and risk in its industry and to give us that guidance. It is their job. It shouldn't be our job to figure this stuff out. And then we're all going to do it, and we're all going to do it. You know, there's 250,000 of us in a country, and there's going to be at least 300,000 different ways of doing it. No, you know, we kind of need government guidance on this. It's a regulated trade. We pay a license fee. That's what they should be doing.
James, I might have missed it. Are we still going to Supreme Court in July?
Yes, still going to Supreme Court in July. Yes, we're going to have it. I mentioned to when Yassine was on there. Yeah, we missed you. That lawyers tomorrow actually to discuss the final preparations for that case in July. But yeah, we're going ahead in July with that case. I was just saying to. Sorry, I need to plug in here. Or I lose power. I was just saying to Yassine, the problem with this case is that we won it in 2016. I wish we could have left it there and walked away with a solution, but because Uber keep appealing it, we keep getting dragged back to court. Because if we don't defend that case against Uber, then we'd have to concede and we'd have lost everything that we fought for. So we kind of have no choice. And you're a named party in that case too, Hadi. You know that too. You can't move on either. You know the unfortunate choice. You get chained down to this thing, and if you don't show up to defend it, then then they walk away with the win. So unfortunately, but hopefully we'll all be free from July. That we'll have a final win, and that'll be the end of it. Exactly. I wonder if we should take a break, Yassine. Should we take a quick break and maybe we start wrapping this thing up anyway? We've been on for 30
exactly.
seconds.
I was going to say goodbye and hi to everybody in here. And guys, don't be on your own. Join UPHD. Once we are together, we are stronger. And don't drive on just by yourself there. Drive with UPHD beside you. Thank you very much, everybody.
Good words. So let's take a break, Yassine, if you're there.
Take care, guys.
United Private Hire Drivers, putting drivers first. Don't forget to like our Facebook page. Follow the page and select See First to stay informed. To join, click on the button Sign Up. Our web address is www.uphd.org. Make your voice heard. Click the red button, Join us today. Drivers can also subscribe to our newsletter by registering on our website. Click the red button, Subscribe to our newsletter. United Private Hire Drivers, putting drivers first.
Will never be defeated. The drivers united will never be defeated. The drivers united will never be defeated.
United Private Hire Drivers, putting drivers first. Don't forget to like our Facebook page.
Yassine, we should wrap it up. I just saw your notes you were prompting me to do. I only saw them when I was on the break. And we should wrap it up. Any thoughts from you?
No, that's it. I think you covered all the points. We've been on for 40 minutes. It's good to have Hadi on. Hopefully, you want to just tell everyone, like, we're on next week again with a special guest. What's that guy's name?
We're going to announce that in a little bit. We don't know who it is going to be. We don't know who the individual is, but we're going to talk about mental health and stress next week. So we'll announce that in a day or two if that's okay. But tune in. It's going to be really good. It's going to be a really good session because it's a very stressful time. But with stress comes change. You know, we're going to in a time of change. So there's some opportunities there. We got to be ready to grab those opportunities. We've got to come out of this thing all together well. And let's have the skills and the tools to do that. And that's going to be exciting because it's not just about coping with the pandemic. It's about how do we take the opportunity at the same time as well.
No worries. Anyway, thank you for watching today.
Before you wrap it up, I just wanted to flag one more thing that's really important that happened in the industry today, this week, is that Free Now, Captain has become part of Free Now. And that's quite controversial because now you got black cabs and private hire on one app. I know Ola is about to do the same thing, but that's a big move that Captain has now come into the Free Now app. I don't know if the Captain app is going to survive. I would suspect it's not going to survive much longer. You're going to see it all on the Free Now app pretty soon. But it's given us a sense of the world we're going to go back to after the pandemic. I think some of the small operators are going to wither away, and we're going to come back to see ever stronger apps, which means we need to be stronger. We need to be organized. You need to join UPHD now. We need to get ready because it's going to be a different world, and we're already shaping that world, but we need to do that together. So join if you can.
Yeah. No worries. Thank you anyway, James. Thank you to everyone watching today. If you haven't joined, like Hardy said, is very important. The link is just below the screen, www.uphd.org/join us. Yeah. So it's very simple. If you need to contact us, you could contact us via Facebook or go onto our website and use the contact us page, and we'll call you. One of us will always call you. But anyways, take care, stay safe, and thank you for watching today.